Welcome to this last tutorial of social research methods. I opened a file, Data Jackman, and it's referring to chapter 10 in Agresti, and we should identify certain relationships. And in this data file, we see several countries in the 60s, beginning with Algeria, and you see economy, democracy, and equality. And you see, this is purely a categorical data file. You only see zeros and ones. The zeros and ones are referring to 0 is low, 1 is high. And the whole idea is there a relationship, for instance, between the economy and democracy? So if is economic growth low, and let's say the democratic character of a country is also low, is there a relationship? And you should try to identify those relationships. Now, first of all, let us look at a relationship in a certain fashion. So remember, this is the 60s. So Algeria had in the 60s a low economic growth, no democracy, still no democracy, still economic growth, but this is the 60s, and there is a low social inequality. So this means everybody in Algeria is poor. If you look at countries like West Germany, our neighbors, what do we see? Economic growth is high after World War II, especially in the Ruhr area. Democratic character is high, but there is also a lot of social inequality. There is a large difference between the rich, the people who own the factories, and the people who work at the factories, the poor. Okay, so if we want to identify a relationship in this manner with these categorical data, we go to crosstabs. And for instance, let democracy be the columns and social equality be the rows. And do we want some statistics? Yes, we know we always use, with categorical data, we use chi-square. Other things, yes, maybe we want also the expected observation, and I always click on those standardized residuals. Click on OK, and what do we see? First of all, we see the counts. After that, we see, let's say, a 2 by 2 matrix, and we see that here economic democratic character, and here we see social inequality. And what do we see? First of all, there were some differences between the expected and the observed, but the most prominent thing for us to look at is this chi-square value, and it's significant with 95%. So we can say there is a dependence between democracy and social inequality. And this, if you know the 60s, this should say, yes, my left-wing heart, yes, of course, democracy is almost synonymous with capitalism, and capitalism brings social inequality. So there is a relationship here. So democracies, where all is good, also brings a lot of social inequality. Let's say those satellite states of the former Soviet Union, yes, they were maybe not so rich, but at least they were all equal. Okay, so this is how to test such a relation. But if we want to take a closer look at the relation, maybe we should correct for the state the economy is in. And if we want to do this, we go again to crosstabs. You see, the rows and the columns are still filled in, but we want to correct or layer it, as SPSS calls it, for the economy. And let's look what happens now. Here we see again this 2 by 2 matrix, but this 2 by 2 matrix is adjusted for only countries with a low economic growth. Here again, the 2 by 2 matrix only for countries with high economic growth. And if we look at this, then we see that the chi-square is not significant anymore. So we, after in the first, this output here, we thought, yes, there is a significant relation or a dependence between democracy and social inequality. But if we correct for, let's say, the state of the economy in that country, there is no relationship at all. Now the question to you is, how do we call such relations? If there is a third variable in play, let's say the economic development, the relationship disappears. Okay, this is a question for you. Read chapter 10.